This mod has taken retro football gaming to a whole new level. Today, we're continuing our journey on the Errors mode patch for FC25, giving us access to iconic teams from the past and the entire history of football with custom retro rosters. With our main mission being to simulate through every retro Errors league in career mode from before 1975 all the way through to post 2020 to current day, and even some other region-specific era leagues like in South America, in Asia and Africa. And trust me, today we're going to relive all the old retro vibes, with each era featuring the best teams of that time, with their official kits, retro badges, retro graphics, retro managers and more. Let's see which iconic squad is going to take home the silverware and crown themselves the undisputed champions of the era, to a free mod pack that I've assembled for you guys to satisfy our nostalgia. And here are how the standings are looking at the end of the 1975 era campaign, and it's actually fascinating because it splits off into two stages. So obviously you've got your first championship round, I guess. They've played 33 games. Us at this Ajax 70s squad have finished rock bottom with 30 points in 12th spot. Topping the league was 1973 to 75 Bayern. However, the league then splits off after 33 games into a second stage where you get sorted out into a bottom group and a championship group, and then that determines who goes on to qualify for the Champions League, who gets relegated. It's kind of like the Belgian league system, and Bayern Munich kind of went toe-to-toe with the 50s Barcelona squad, so that was the main rivalry. Real Madrid towards the late 50s grabbed that 69 points. And in terms of the before 1975 Cup, we have the Manchester United 1968 squad, the first ever English European champions, claim the title there with a 1-0 win. We've got the World Cup trophy as the mini pick. But what fascinates me most about this mod, no matter what era you're in career mode, you're going to have a mix of current day teams and also the Errors mode teams. So you've got, your normal Bayern Munich, Milan, Arsenal, Juventus, PSG from the current season. And then you've also got random historical teams thrown in there, like 2005 Liverpool, 2000 Galatasaray. And now, because we have a 36 team competition, there are so many more spots available, like a 1999 Lazio, a 73 Juventus, a 2001 Leeds. Everything's kind of jumbled up. So you've got the historical teams doing battle with the current day squads, and now we've gone all the way through to the final, where it's Champions League winning 1980s Nottingham Forest versus current day Man City. Now we've got to watch and see how this one plays out. This Champions League final, it's got a very special Nottingham Forest side that have gone down in club history, but now can they do it again? Here in this career mode save, up against Man City in the final, taking on the modern day system of Pep Guardiola in the final. Can they come through and do it for Nottingham? And in a 5-goal thriller, no, it was a 3-2 loss. Phil Foden with a hat-trick as they actually opened the scoring with Francis double, but it wasn't enough to take down modern football. A historical team takes the L there, and it's not just any historical team. I'm pretty sure these guys won back-to-back European trophies. And look at that, they got 2018 Neymar in their squad, Man City. It just wasn't meant to be for the Reds, as they've made some signings of their own, but the main key in this team is Peter Shilton, 30 years old and 90 overall. He was the core, he was the backbone. The player charts and stats for the 1975 Super League, it reads a little differently to what you'd expect, and the top goal scorer was from Barcelona, Rodriguez Alvarez Cesar, a player from the early 1950s with 25 goals. Next up, runners-up was Conny Tortensen from Bayern Munich 70s team. Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the many variants of Cristiano Ronaldo, ended up signing for the 70s Bayern squad. He managed to net 19. We had Sandor Kocakis from Hungary in that Barcelona team with 19 too. Jairzinho at Inter in the 60s managed 17 goals. And again, some of these players might have transferred to new teams, so you know that it might not be historically accurate because we are in career mode, but these are how the goal scorers are looking. In terms of assists, we've got modern day Cristiano Ronaldo, 13 assists on top of the charts, alongside Jose Torres in that 60s Benfica team, and Raymond Coppa, a part of that, and the Frenchman Raymond Coppa, a part of that Real Madrid team who won 5 Champions League titles in a row here in the 50s. Up next, we're moving past 1975 into the next half decade, the next 5 years, 75 to 80, and with only one manager available, we've got to go with Giovanni Trapattoni here at Juventus. That OG, as much as I hate him, that OG Juventus logo had sauce. And with every new decade and new era you load up into, you get a different loading screen. So if you're in the 70s, 80s, 90s, it's going to change up, and I just love seeing all these old school photos. There's that Nottingham team I think I was talking about. And here's how the 1976 to 78 Juventus squad has shaped up here. This is what Trapattoni was working with. We've got so many of those golden generation stars of the 70s, of the 80s, like Tardelli, the captain Dino Zoff in goal, and we've got a young Gianpaolo Gasperini, an Atalanta legend who's now managing in Rome, who's probably more known now for his managerial feats at Atalanta, now coaching Roma in Serie A, but he is just oh my days, look at these old photos, look at the old haircuts, man, and the defenders are class. This Juve team is just dripping with class. Schirea at the back, Bettega leading the line up front. We've also got Altafini on the bench. Brother, Juventus at the time, rocking the cold star on the kit. It was clean, it was classy, and the Bianconeri of the late 70s. Let's see how they get on. Let's see how they perform out here. In the 1975 to 1980 Super League, let's take a look and see what other clubs are joining us. We've got the likes of 1975 Leeds, 1976 to 78 Liverpool, who won the Champions League. We've also got that Nottingham Forest team, who just lost the Champions League final, Anderlecht from 1976 to 78, and 75 to 78 Saint Etienne. Definitely more of a mix of just random clubs like Club Brugge, Malmo, 76 to 78 PSG, 1975 Real Madrid, and it's only a 12-team competition, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens and how the competition actually breaks up, if there's a second phase, as there are a few historical teams sprinkled throughout this Champions League campaign, and I love how every single era and league have their own specific logo. They've got their own different poster boys of every kind of 5-year span. For example, this logo goes hard with George Best, Maradona. It's a beautiful little artwork, a little banner there to represent football at the time, and all the league logos are unique in their own way. 2011 Barcelona want Franco Causio. No, not with a mustache like that, mate. He is staying here for the rest of time. I don't care. This guy is just pure vibes and I love it. Just give him the captain's armband. He's my goat. One of my favorite things to do with all these mods installed is just to take a look at the social media feed once you've scrolled, looking at all the team of the weeks, all the iconic players that just pop up randomly, all the retro logos, the retro aesthetics. It's just, I don't know, surreal seeing this kind of stuff in a modern day career mode, and like all these team of the weeks, team of the years, the awards. We're playing out here in the Conference League. It probably wasn't even a thing. It wasn't a thing when these teams existed, so ain't no way we have 5 different variations of Diego Maradona at various stages of his career. Man, I feel like we're in an alternate timeline and I'm loving every single second. Okay, no, we only have 3 Maradonas. We've got his Barcelona variant at 21, him in his prime, 27 at Napoli, and then a random 19-year-old Maradona who decided to join Milan. And another cool attention to detail is that the variants have slightly different looks, so you can tell them apart. Oh my days, I thought Maradona had a lot of variants. Look at this, Lionel Messi, mate. You might as well make a variant for every single year he's turned old. What the hell? He's got about 20 variants. I'm lost for words. I can't speak right now. Look how many Messis there are. I told you that this mod was in depth, but I didn't realize it literally covered every single year of Messi's career. Look at this. Back when he was just bursting onto the scene, that was him in 2011. This is current day Messi. What's going on? I think the latest we've got is 35-year-old Messi, but what about, what was this, FIFA 17? 2016 Messi with the yellow hair and the beard. This is him back when he broke the goal scoring record in the calendar year with 94. This would have been what, 2018, 2014? And of course Ronaldo gets that same treatment. Not as many variants as Messi, but these are all his looks throughout the years. These are pretty much all of his ages from 21 upwards. No, from 19 upwards. And of course every single variant comes with their own very unique look. And of course the team kit from the time. This must have been what, 2004? 94. Look at him. Wow, 3 different variants of CR7 decided to join Barcelona. What is going on here? The loyalty, there is no loyalty. And the most expensive transfer here in the 1975 to 80s era is Pavel Nedved, the future Ballon d'Or winner. I mean, it was from Juventus's 2003 squad to Chelsea's 2021 Champions League winning team. They bought him for £150.4 million. Santiago Solari is off to Juventus. Oh no, he's off to Sevilla's Europa League winning team in 2020. The 88 rated left mid. Prime Zambrotta moving to Ajax for £104 million. And then Brian Laudrup decides to travel into the future from Milan 94 to Ajax's 2019 semi-final of the Champions League winning team. 2015 Juventus Paul Pogba has gone back in time for £46.6 million, joins Liverpool in 1967, mate. What are you doing? This is Graham Souness's era. Paul, mate, this is just a disaster waiting to happen. And at the end of the campaign, it's the Liverpool side from 76 to 78, that European Cup side, who reign supreme in this era and mark their dominance, being front runners. Like, there's literally no competition for them. Meanwhile, this Juventus team finished literally like towards the end, lower end of the table in 8th. But that was the same story going into the relegation round and the championship round. So Liverpool again in this period of world football were the kings, and they're strutting their stuff here amongst their fellow time compatriots. In terms of the goal scorers, surely it's Kenny Dalglish on top with 29 goals, wins the Golden Boot. It's the Juventus hitman, the Brazilian Altafini with 19 goals, 18 for Ravelli. Lianen makes the top 5 with 15, and Pietro Fanna for Juventus rounds it out. Kevin Keegan also in the top 10 there for Liverpool with 13 goals. And in terms of assists, I think Kenny Dalglish was just the MVP, the GOAT of this era. 13 assists for him. Pietro Fanna also had a campaign to remember, 10 assists, double figures in both goals and assists. And in terms of clean sheets, it was Dino Zoff and Miguel Angel on top of the charts. In the Champions League, no historical teams made the real-life Champions League. However, in the Europa League, there was a 2003 AC Milan side up against 2000's Arsenal, and the Rossoneri win that one on penalties 8-7 after it finished 2-2. What a final. Arsenal still bottling trophies here in Errors mode. And in the Conference League, it was Inter's all-time squad to beat out 1986 Bucuresti. So interesting happenings going on here all across the world, all across Europe, I should say, as the Super Cup winner was Anderlecht, who got the upset over Real Madrid. Their 76 to 78 beat out 1975 Real Madrid. And with that, let's enter a new decade and march our way into the 80s. There's only one option here from 1980 to 85, and it's the young Sir Alex Ferguson at Aberdeen. I don't know what logo that is, but he's won some kind of silverware. Maybe it's the Scottish Championship, the Scottish Cup. But we're going to take over and, take charge as him before he would go on to join United and become the greatest manager the world has ever seen. And in terms of the squad he was working with, what state did he leave Aberdeen in before he would leave? And I guess they had a decent side for the Scottish League. Everyone in that lower 80s range of overall and potential, but I don't recognise any of these players, unfortunately. Not the best side to have on paper, considering the type of teams they're coming up against. The 1982 Villa squad that won the Champions League. They're up against some all-timers. It's only a 10-club league. However, the quality here is insane. We've got, 4 European winners, and the rest aren't no laughing stock either. You've got remnants of that 70s Liverpool squad still here in 1981. We've got this legendary Aston Villa, who are very capable at 4.5 stars, just like Standard Liège in 1982. And again, Anderlecht, Hamburg at the time. These were the main powerhouses of this time period, and it's good to just sit back and learn and just take a look at all these iconic rosters. Juventus definitely took it up a notch in the mid-80s here. This squad is insane. Definitely the favourites for the league alongside Roma. With the most expensive transfer here in the 80s, you guys must be confused because you're seeing all kinds of players from all different eras, but they're all kind of coexisting in the same universe. We have probably the lowest spend we've seen so far. Camacho from Real Madrid 75 to Lazio 99 for £50.5 million. The Spanish left back / centre back makes to move to Italy. We've got Rodrigo from Benfica in 2013, man. This guy brings back the memories, bro. I remember him on FIFA 13. He was an absolute gun. For £42.6 million, moves to current day Borussia Dortmund. 2010 Lacazette, traveling back in time to the 60s to play for Benfica. What a move for the Frenchman, as it's Tommy Smith who thinks he can do it in the modern game. He can do it in today's game. Moving from Liverpool 63 to Bologna's current day team, the centre-back can play pretty much anywhere in the spine. And surely he's got an epic game face. He does, man. That is just, I love that game scan there for him. Just hold your horses, because we will get to them in the next era, in the next little 5-year time period. So we're going to have to wait a little while longer. Whilst we take a look at the player stats, it's Paolo Rossi on top with 25 goals in 36 games. 2022 Neymar decided to sign for Roma in 1984. He netted 20 goals in this league, with Howard Gale and Simon Tahamata outscoring him. Any other familiar names in this list? We've got Kenny Dalglish back at it again. Juventus signed a young Cristiano Ronaldo. He only netted them 9 goals though, so they wanted to make a signing from the future. It was Kenny Dalglish again, the main playmaker of the league, with 11 assists, 10 assists for Neymar, and Michel Platini managing to pull through in third, as it's the Belgian shot stopper Mikel Predhome for Standard Liège. 8 clean sheets in 35 games, tied up top with Ray Clements. I mean, Aberdeen were up there in the top 4 race. Sir Alex could only do so much in a league full of superstars. And I will warn you, there are some glitches here and there you might encounter, like this one, where our player's midsection is completely invisible. The downstairs department just doesn't exist. But yeah, I don't know. If you could just suspend your disbelief for a second, we're going to look through the season stats here. The top goal scorer, Eric Black, with 19 goals. It does look a little goofy, I'll give it that, but it's just a visual glitch. It's nothing game-breaking. As we transition into the late 80s here, we have 4 managerial choices, and I'm going to go with Jupp Heynckes, the German mastermind, and his 1987 Bayern Munich outfit. And they're actually one of the only teams in this Super League to not have won a major European trophy in this little 5-year span. We've got the iconic Milan squad, who had all those Dutch legends, the rise of Maradona there with Napoli. What a time to be alive, man. I know I wasn't alive through it, but just looking back at the images, looking back at all the footage, football in the late 80s was something else. As here is the 85 to 90 Super League standings, we've got the likes of 87 Porto, 85 Bordeaux, and that 89 Milan God squad with all the Dutch icons. We've also got the likes of Maradona's Napoli here in 1989 when he won them the Scudetto, that UEFA Cup, 88 Leverkusen, 88 FC Mechelen, 88 PSV. So there is a decent spread here. We've got 2 variants of the same team, so Steaua Bucuresti must have been so dominant in this period to deserve 2 different sides in this league. So we've got prime Diego Maradona, we've got this God squad of a Milan team, the golden era of Milan who won their Champions League, a Champions League winning PSV team. Leverkusen won the Europa League in this time, and then there's Bayern Munich here, still a solid squad. I don't really know how it's going to compete with such champion sides, as their only 2 megastars really is Lothar Matthäus and Breme at left back. They do have Rummenigge leading the line up front though, so a potential hitman in the making. But let's see how they compare to the rest of the era, and if they can prove everyone wrong here in the late 80s, as these Bayern kits are classy. They're fire. I love that color combination too. Oh my god, there's no way that's Hansi Flick. I didn't even notice that. I saw his name was Flick, but I didn't think it was Hansi. That's one of my favorite things to do in this mod. Find players that have now become managers in the future, and they look completely unrecognizable in their playing days. As per usual, we've always got some crazy transfers going on. Not just the freebies in the free agents, but this time we've seen one of the biggest transfer fees I've ever witnessed so far. £151.8 million. Clarence Seedorf has gone from the 03 Milan team to Ajax in 2019. What an addition that would have been. As David Ginola moves from PSG to Real Madrid's 2016 three-peat, moves from OG PSG to Real Madrid's Champions League three-peat team. I don't even think he's going to get into the squad, but he's there on the bench nonetheless. We've got Maicon, who goes from Inter to Inter 2010. 5,000 IQ there from the Brazilian, as Rafinha, he's done with modern day football. He knows he can't win the Ballon d'Or. He wants to just ball out in the 90s, so he's joined the 1999 Marseille team, and maybe he'll take his game to a new level in France, as we've got Mario Gomez going from 07 Stuttgart to the 70s with Ajax. And these boys from Celtic, Danny McGrain and Kenny Dalglish, before he would go on to join Liverpool, have decided to travel into the future and want to take their game into a new era. Here with McGrain off to Leeds 2001, and a young Kenny Dalglish moving to present-day Newcastle at 16 years old. And what about this for an alternate timeline? Mason Greenwood from 2021, back when Ole was at the wheel at 20 years of age. What if Real Madrid just swooped in and picked him up? He would have become a Galactico, and who knows how his career would have panned out from there. So a lot of what-if moments as well in these retro mods. You could replay careers, rewrite history, and just see what would happen. And just completely lean in to the what-if experiments. Now, who is going to be the undisputed champion of the 1980s period? We've hit the end of the season, and now we're going to take a look at who is the undisputed champion. And we have on top of the table in the regular season, it's Bayer Leverkusen leading by 1 point. Their Europa League winning squad of 1988 rising to the top, alongside 86 Real Madrid, 88 PSV, and Napoli's Scudetto winning 89 winning Napoli. This Bayern Munich team with no silverware came through in 6th out of 12, so in the middle of the pack, and in the playoffs, Bayer Leverkusen took it home by 1 point by the finest of margins. Real Madrid and PSV giving them some steady competition here, but you can see I'm surprised that the Milan team didn't make. The biggest shock is actually the 89 Milan squad. I thought would do way better. I had crazy high expectations for them, but they did go on to win the little 85 to 90 Decade Cup, just as a little piece of silverware to throw in the cabinet as they beat out the 88 squad for FC Michelin. In the Champions League, we just had present day teams making the final there, as over in the Europa League, things got interesting as the all-time AC Milan squad beat out the all-time Bayern Munich team 1-0, a classic Italian performance. And in the Conference League, we saw 2006 Arsenal. They lost out on a Champions League title, but they made sure to win a Conference League in the present day, beating out modern-day Chelsea 2-1. Who were the gunslingers? Who were the prevalent performers here in the late 80s? We've got Marco van Basten up the charts, finishing second with 15 goals, but it was Herbert Wass for Bayer Leverkusen with that absolutely deadly moustache, 21 goals in 31 appearances. If we continue to scroll down, we had the likes of Diego Maradona and Ruud Gullit missing out on the top 10 completely with 9 goals apiece. But that's what I love about this mod. You're going to be seeing so many different players that you've never even heard of before. The only one I recognize here, George Hagi in the assist charts with 7 to his name, as Jorge Valdano of 86 Real Madrid came through on top with 8 assists, Lothar Matthäus and Pele in the top 10. But clearly they were outclassed by some players who have never even graced a FIFA game before, neither as icons or legends. So maybe this is a good look to see what future icons and legends could potentially make it in the game. And something I didn't check up on was the Champions League stats here. We've got current day players competing with variants of Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. It's crazy to think about. They're also coming up against historic teams and fighting for themselves. They're holding their own up against, 2005 Liverpool, 03 Juventus. It's like we've combined every single era from the football universe and just squished them all into one career save. It's a free-for-all. Everyone's competing against everyone, as this 87 Bayern team that kind of underperformed a little bit despite them being probably one of the weaker sides, they still managed to make the playoffs, so I guess fair play to them. Bro, these old school German haircuts with the mullets, the overgrown bobs, the curls, the bowl cuts, they had it all. This Bayer Leverkusen squad held their own. The Europa League winners, I didn't really expect much from them, but they proved the doubters wrong, and this is definitely a understrength side, but they look like one solid unit. And Rolf, imagine this guy as your club captain. He's His aura alone just commands dominance. The German outfit, kings of the late 80s. So let's see which historic team and iconic club rises to prominence here at the start of the 90s. We're in a new decade. Even though we've got two different versions of Monaco, a Louis van Gaal at Ajax, club legends like Kenny Dalglish at Liverpool and Johan Cruyff at Barca, I think I just have to go with AC Milan's golden era with the mastermind Fabio Capello. Come on, I just had to. Italian football in the 90s, it was the best league in the world at the time. And we had the superstars and absolute giants to back it up. It's a time where Italy became a proper footballing nation, if they weren't already, but like just look at this Milan squad. Like it was absolutely disgusting. Legends and icons everywhere you look. Just look at the striking options they had to pick from. Papin, Savicevic, likes of Maldini and Desailly at the back. Goddamn, Michael Laudrup on the bench. Baresi, what's he doing in the reserves? I don't care if he's 32. He's got to be starting over Galli. That is criminal. The man's got to lead a 24-year-old Maldini and a 24-year-old Desailly by his side. Now, how is this squad going to compare and compete with the likes of Champions League winning Red Star Belgrade in 91, so many other European powerhouses like 92 Monaco, 94 Arsenal, and 92 Ajax, a Johan Cruyff-led Barcelona, some other Italian giants in the mix like Fiorentina, Inter, and the early 90s squad of Juventus, the last French Champions League winners, Marseille of 93, and some other underdogs in there like 92 Werder Bremen, the early 90s squad of Sampdoria. This is no doubt one of the most fierce and competitive leagues we've seen so far, and you can probably start to recognize a couple of more names on the team sheets now, I'm assuming. People always tell me that football in the 90s was special, so I've got some high expectations for this simulation. So these historical 90s teams better deliver. Now, one thing the 90s didn't have was crazy modern day transfers, and that's exactly what this mod has delivered for them. Just in the January transfer window alone, we've seen £200 million deals go down from Bayern Munich 06 back to Madrid 86 for £131.7 million. The German left winger. I've never heard of him before, but he's probably a Bayern Munich legend. We have a young 21-year-old Ronaldinho staying in his year from PSG 01 to Leeds 01. At 21, has potential to be special as a wonder kid. He makes the leap to the English First Division, and that is just an insane transfer. I love these moves, and we've got a young Patrice Evra here. That's another feature that it just needs more praise. Everyone's age is accurate for their year, so 06 Bastian Schweinsteiger was 20 years old. He's actually moved to Bayern in the past. He wants to play in the 80s, and why would you blame him? Oh, there you go. We've got Jim Beglin, who's actually a commentator these days. I know him as a commentator. I always hear him on the mic. Not the greatest fan of his calls, but he's here in this mod. 19 years of age at Liverpool. Back in 83, won the Champions League with them, and he's decided to move to present-day Fulham. Danny Carvajal, FIFA 14, man. This is bringing back memories. Some players just completely rewriting their careers. So Danilo in Santos 2013. Instead of moving to Real Madrid, he decided to join present-day Bayern. I could go through these transfers and get lost in them for hours, but I want to give you a little taste of the chaos going on in the background. Oh my days, we've got an even younger version of Bastian Schweinsteiger, the 18-year-old teenager this time, moving to Athletic Bilbao. And if you've made it this far throughout the video, make sure to let me know down in the comments below, what was your favorite era of football, whether you were alive to witness it or not, just so I could see who the real ones are in the comments. And this is how the 1990 to 95 Super League season has finished here, as our boys at Milan come through in fourth. There was no splitting off. It was just a 30-game league campaign with FC Barcelona, Cruyff leading them to domination, 67 points, a 12-point gap between them and 90s Juventus with 55 points. 93 Marseille snuck their way into the top four. Meanwhile, we've shut out Inter of the same year. Sampdoria come through in the top six. Meanwhile, Arsenal, Liverpool, Wenger at Monaco, all have seemed to struggle. And finishing at the bottom is a 1990 Dinamo, with the Champions League winners and Europa League winners of those early 90s seasons absolutely flopping. And the Super Super Cup this time goes to 92 Ajax as they took down 93 Marseille 1-0 in the big dance. There was a UEFA Super Cup for some reason this season, and we have 2009 Barcelona getting the better over 1989 Milan on penalties, 14-13. What a shootout. As it finished 2-2, that would have been a game and a half to watch, and we're only in December, so this means we can't really see any of the European competition winners, but here is how the table's looking so far. And this is where those generational names start creeping up, and everyone we're all familiar with, or at least people my age, I guess, the likes of Hristo Stoichkov, the Bulgarian hitman with 25 goals in 30 games, the French dynamo Papin with 21 goals for Milan. Meanwhile, the likes of Roberto Baggio, Ian Wright, Schillaci, all in the top 5. Peter Beardsley in there for Liverpool, and oh my god, we've got an old Messi, 2 different Messi variants in this league as they've been signed by 94 Inter and 94 Barcelona. Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should turn transfers off for our next few simulations, as it's cool to see Roberto Mancini in there for Sampdoria. In terms of assists, we had the likes of Albertini, Donadoni, Andreas Moller at Juventus. As they say, defense wins you championships, and I definitely think that was the case here with this Rossoneri squad, as you've got some talented individuals in here, but the defense really is in a league of its own. One of the most underrated players in football history, alright? This guy is an absolute don. Something else I love about the 90s, look at these goalkeeper kits, man. They were the funkiest little things you've ever seen. They hit different in the 90s. I don't know what they had in the water, but the goalkeeper shirt designs are absolutely off the charts. I feel like putting a stop to the fun and just disabling the transfers with that mod, but seeing all the transfer deals and business go down and players from the future moving to historic teams and vice versa. And I should have been checking this out from before, but here's the league's team of the season with the likes of Papin Stoichkov leading the line up front, Baggio and Coleman included too. We've also got the player of the season up here. Where is it? We've also got the end of season awards like goalkeeper of the season, player of the season. The vibes in this video is more teetering the line towards having fun rather than realism. I want to keep this resimulation as authentic as possible with all those fun transfers in the background as we transition to the 95 to 2000 Super League, entering the late 90s. I'm tossing up between Kenny Dalglish at Blackburn, Louis van Gaal's Ajax, or Ruud Gullit managing Chelsea. Oh my days, this Ajax team is cold, bro. Is that Daley Blin's dad? A young De Boer, a young Litmanen, and a 21-year-old Edgar Davids, 21-year-old Overmars. Ajax was, and still are, a talent factory for European football. The Blackburn when they won the Premier League, but this Blackburn team, man, with Alan Shearer up front before they sold him off to Newcastle, Tim Sherwood the captain. With the 4-4 F2, could you get more English Premiership than this? An 18-year-old Shay Given as well, if you know, you know. 98 Cup Winners' Cup Chelsea though, with the retro badge. The Italian stallions of Vialli and Zola leading the line up front. They've got Gus Poyet, a prime Roberto Di Matteo before he'd go on to actually win the Champions League with Chelsea managing them. Leboeuf at the back with Mark Hughes on the bench. A young 17-year-old skinhead John Terry. Nah, bro, I'm just straight up spoiled for choice here. You've also got Treble Team United, but I want to use them in a later decade. And in this era, the UEFA Cup winners Parma with a 20-year-old Buffon, Cannavaro, Thuram at the back, Veron in the middle with Chiesa and Crespo leading the line. Need I say more? Don't hate me here, but I just have to go with Chelsea. They've got the most fun and interesting squad. I feel like the 90s now is peaking towards the later end of the decade as we've got some iconic Champions League winning teams in the pre-game loading screen. Ajax, Dortmund, United's treble win. Real Madrid also got their hands on one, of course, in this decade. So let's check out the rest of the Super League to see who we're competing with here. We have an almost full competition of 19 teams. This is the closest we've been to a full 20 league campaign, so this is the most action-packed one yet, with the most content, the most historic teams, and we have some major representation here from 95 all the way up to 99 teams from every single year. Now, what will the late 90s era have in store for us? The Cup Winners' Cup you might be seeing on a few of the teams' badges was actually like a tournament just for European Cup winners. So that was like a special tournament. They don't really do it nowadays. They should probably bring it back, like just have it just for the champions, just for all the European champions. It was kind of a big deal back in the day because only if you won a trophy, you could get into that tournament, into that conversation. So I guess Arsenal are probably never going to qualify, but look at these teams, man. This would have been such a crazy time to grow up. You would have fell in love with football the second you came out the womb. And for the first time in a while, we've got some Greek representation here with 96 Panathinaikos. So strap yourselves in. I'm sure we're going to cap off the 90s with absolute fireworks. No matter how many times you play with this retro mod, the pre-game hype and the match build-up, just seeing it all come through on screen, it'll never get old, man. I swear, this is peak. And to think that modding is going to get even better in the coming months and in the coming years. It's just something beautiful to think about. I love the league logo up there. It's one of my favorites. There's also got a tifo there as Gianluca Vialli, one of the highest goal scorers. He's going after the golden boot. And there he is on match day. Rest in peace to the legend. Rest in peace to the king. What you are going to notice is that a lot of these older players aren't wearing actual boots. They're just the default boots. This Juventus scheme is scary. And look at them go through. It's a simple as that for the Juventus 96 team. They don't even have Del Piero on the pitch. The matchday broadcasters, it's got those OG retro sponsors on the ad boards too. You've got that swipe across that looks beautiful in the broadcast package. It's got all the content in here to make you feel immersed, and it makes this mod come alive on match day. Ooh, Gianfranco Zola from outside the box. He's gonna go for it. Look at this. Look at this. A young JT breaking ankles. A proper Brexit tackle from the skinhead wonder kid. And he gets a straight red. If that's not a testament to the rest of his career, I don't know what is. But, oh my God, he's absolutely firing on the sideline. The manager can't contain himself. JT sent off, but we only need these two Italian stallions up front to do the job. I definitely want to watch two powerhouses, two heavyweights go head-to-head in a big final. So that is on the bucket list as we go down 2-0 to Juventus and around the grounds. Some interesting results as here are the final league standings of the 95 to 2000 Super League. And our Chelsea squad didn't do too hot, sitting in 14th spot, 98 Chelsea with 45 points. But at least we weren't Bordeaux or Blackburn, both finishing with less than 30. We had 99 Rangers finish above us, and in the top 10, a trio of Spanish sides, Atletico, Real, and Barcelona. And then in the top 4, the winners, actually 99 Bayern Munich. No trophy picture to their badge, so I don't think they're famous for winning anything. They've just got an almighty great squad with 69 points in 36 games. 95 to 97 Juve with 62, as 97 Dortmund and treble winning 99 United finish off the top 4. The Spanish side's massively underperforming, as over in the Super Cup, we've got 95 Ajax taking on 97 Johan Cruyff-led Barcelona. 97 Barca got the job done there with a 2-1 win over 95 Ajax, and they've got the trophy to show for it. That Kappa Barcelona kit is absolutely sublime. Meanwhile, in other European competitions, the Champions League was boring with present-day teams, but the Europa League delivered with Bayern's all-time squad taking down all-time Milan 3-1, and the Conference League also was spicy with the Juventus all-time team getting the better over Man City 2021 with a 2-1 win. And the standout performers from this era, from this half-decade, it's Teddy Sheringham, the top goal scorer in the league. He wins the Golden Boot over Alex Udis. They've got a version of Neymar there who signed for 99 Bayern. No wonder they won the league, as we also had Gianluca Vialli with 16, with the likes of Van Basten at Ajax, Alan Shearer, and Kanu sneaking their way into the top 10. And in terms of assists, Neymar just came through in his playmaker bag with 10 assists alongside Teddy Sheringham, Veron at Parma sneaking up into the top 5 with 7. And that reminds me, I didn't even check in on the transfers. What chaos did I miss on the transfer market, as Ryan Giggs, oh my days, from Manchester United's all-time squad to Real Madrid 2016 when they won the three-peat. At 19 years of age, 92 rated, I think he's going to take over Gareth Bale's spot in that team, as Cafu joins the other side, joins the blue side of Milan for 153 million. You've got Clarence Seedorf moving to 87 Porto for 151. Frank Rijkaard joins current day Manchester City at 104 149 million. And then we've got some other big boy moves. Look at how many £100 million deals went down. Steve McManaman has traveled back 50 years into the past, joining up, signing with Barcelona's 1950s squad. And boy, the £100 million moves don't stop, finally. But that's both the summer and winter transfer window. We've got some, elite names in world football. David Ginola, another one of these players, moving back in time to the 50s as he joins up Milan for 117.3. We've got some ultimate trader moves like Marcus Rashford moving to Manchester City's 2012 winning Premier League side. Or what would happen if Robin van Persie never left Arsenal and joined Bayer Leverkusen in 1988. All the questions you lose sleep over, like, what if Park Ji-sung from 2008 Man United joined them in 2021? They're questions not even the footballing gods can answer, as you thought Brian Mbeumo was going to Manchester United. No, he is off to 1986, joining the Romanian Bucuresti side, and I'll give it to him, he looks good in red. Nevertheless, the team of the season announced, and it reads like this. We have, the man of the tournament, Juventus's Padovano. We have both him and Teddy Sheringham up top. Mancini at Lazio. He makes it into the midfield alongside Lilian Thuram, Marcus and Kethuram Thuram's dad. Dennis Owen at left back, Oliver Kahn in between the sticks. These are the kind of legendary names we're dealing with here in the late 90s, plus a few guests like Neymar, who's decided to spoil the party, but hey, he wants to test himself out in a different era. Let it be. Now it's time to hop into the new millennium, the new century, the year I was born, 2000. A new decade, a new time period for football, and this is where the modern game started to evolve. I think I've got to go with, there's too many choices. I got to go with Jose, the special one at Porto, the gun underdog squad like Greece of 04. They wrote their names into footballing folklore, and there you can get a glimpse of them right here, alongside Europa League winners Hagi Galatasaray, Milan dominating the early 2000s, and of course Real Madrid. This has got to be hands down one of my favorite custom league logos so far, and it just represents this time period to a T. God damn, Jose had some Portuguese Hall of Famers on his roster here in 04, but can he do it again? And will he be able to pull off that same magic here in the Era's Super League? They look strong. They look like a cohesive unit. The likes of a 25-year-old Carvalho at the back. Deco about to enter his prime. A young Streets won't forget Bosingwa at right back. And Sergio Conceição, who just finished up managing at AC Milan this season before he'd go on to manage Porto in future, as they're coming up against the like of the Invincibles at Arsenal. 2004 was one of the most insane footballing campaigns ever, both at club level and international, so I just know we're about to see fireworks in this simulation. Two different variants of Real Madrid, 02 and 04. 04 Valencia, who were back in the early 2000s. We have an 18-team competition, and it is going to get spicy with Leeds thrown into the mix. Galatasaray, Feyenoord, Marseille again popping up, so this is going to be a fiery affair. So let's see which one of these rosters are going to crown themselves as kings of the early 2000s, as we'll just do a quick scroll through, and I'm sure this is where a lot of people my age started to fall in love with football and get into it, I guess. There is so much talent spread out everywhere in this era, everywhere in this league. I've accidentally got the currency set to dollars, but here are some of the biggest deals that have gone down in the summer 2000-2005 period. We've got David Beckham off PSG, but not PSG side he joined in real life, the 96 team, for $194.7 million. Got Rafinha, who just loves making the move away from Barcelona throughout this whole entire video. I've always seen him sign for another club. This time it's Bayern Munich in 1973. You've got Steve McManaman moving to Europa League winners Villarreal in 2021. Not too many names that are grabbing the headlines. We've got players from the 80s and 70s making big money moves. It's low-key a mixed bag, but we also have, wow, I've never seen a South American transfer this far up. Arthur Melo from Gremio's Libertadores 2017 winning team, just following his countryman Rafinha to 1973 Bayern Munich. All these retro photos and players with their younger looks, like Willian from the 09 Shakhtar Donetsk team. He had braids back then, and now he's gone on to join 2023 Inter. Gerard Piqué is just another player who is always on the move, always wanting to move away from Barcelona. So yeah, I get why people would probably want to disable transfers because there are just way too many that are happening for my liking. The frequency is just absolutely insane, and that's just one transfer window. The struggle was real for 04 Porto in the early 2000s Super League, as they're finishing up in the bottom three alongside PSG and 2002 Scudetto winning Roma. Moving further up the table into the top four, and the winners 04 Bayern Munich, without a piece of silverware to their name. They beat out 03 Milan, and 03 Juventus sneak into the top four by 1 point. Madrid, 2000s Arsenal, and Monaco post Wenger miss out on the top places. 02 Real Madrid with a massive underperformance, and 04 Valencia punching above their weight in the top 10. Liverpool kind of slipping down the pecking order. However, the early 2000s Super Cup would see Real Madrid underperform again, this time in a final, losing out to 2000s Arsenal with that classic logo, the Gunners on the badge, and they got a scrappy 1-0 win. Take a look at the Champions League. 05 Liverpool versus current day Real Madrid, as 2019 Europa League champions Chelsea took out 1972 Inter in the big dance of the modern day Europa League. And in the Conference League final, we had early 2000s representation in both 03 Juventus and 02 Dortmund. The Bianconeri getting the better over the Germans there, 2-0. And current day Real Madrid absolutely schooled 2005 Liverpool. Stevie G and Xabi Alonso couldn't make that 3-3 comeback and fell short. And you must be thinking, this preseason tournament beats Cup to Mickey Mouse Trophy. Oh hell no. It's filled with some of the best teams of all time, some goated historic teams. So you're not allowed any easy games, not even in preseason. That's why like these goal scorer tallies and point tallies are so low, because you're always up against quality opposition. It's quality over quantity in this era's mode, and the early 2000s Peruvians hitter, the gunslinger Claudio Pizarro, the cult hero at Bayern Munich, scored 24 goals. Thierry Henry couldn't outscore him. The Frenchman netting 21 for the Gunners, as Zico got into the 21 area. That is great output. Alongside Marco Di Vaio, Dennis Bergkamp, Raul, and R9 Ronaldo just making it into the top 10 there with 13 goals. Some more iconic names are rearing their head, like Michael Ballack at 02 Leverkusen, Davor Suker, Shevchenko, Mark Viduka at Leeds in 2001, JJ Okocha as well. Bro, just looking through these photos are so nostalgic as well. In terms of assists, the main playmaker was Sebastian Deisler. First time he's appeared in one of these charts. Coming through top with 11, R9 Ronaldo providing 8. You definitely see in this period of football that playmaker forward was so crucial. And the Golden Glove clean sheets, the king goes to Iker Casillas with 9 for Los Blancos. And Buffon was bought by the Invincibles at Arsenal, but it doesn't matter, as another one of his variants was at 03 Juventus. But some OG shot stoppers, some, goalkeeper royalty is present in this list right here. And the team of the season is an absolute all-timer. Thierry Henry and Pizarro up front, got Zidane, Zico, Beckham, and Deisler in the midfield, and a defense of Loren, Oliver Kahn in between the sticks, and the defense of Roberto Carlos, Campbell, and Loren from the Invincibles at Arsenal. You can't get much better than that, as player of the season goes to Juve's Di Vaio. And it was always going to be tough with Porto. They managed to compete. They didn't embarrass themselves with the special one at the wheel. Top goal scorer with 10 goals was Edgaras Jankauskas, the 6'4" Lithuanian beast. I've never heard of him before, but okay, what a way to announce yourself. Sounds like the type of striker Sean Dyche would absolutely love. Got a Russian playmaker, Dmitry Alienshev, Pedro Mendes on the right wing, providing some 8 goal contributions. Sergio Conceição proven to be a decent option off the bench. And Deco, I was expecting more, as he grew a +1 throughout the season, but only 5 goals and 5 assists. We definitely needed to see some more production from him. But how did the late 2000s fare? It's no doubt the era where I started to fall in love with the beautiful game and was exposed mainly to the Premier League over here in Australia. So that's why I've got to pick my boys Manchester United, with Sir Alex still in charge in that dominating period where they were just simply unstoppable, untouchable, winning back-to-back Premier Leagues with their eyes closed. Before Man City got taken over, when the vibes were just right, we had prime Ronaldo at Manchester United. The Messi versus Ronaldo debate was starting to take shape. And you can't be a football fan my age and not start to get emotional, start to get nostalgic just looking at this screen right here. The era of our childhood, and this is the current time period, 5-year span, and all the teams involved. We've got 18 clubs all up. And only one duplicate team, and that's Barcelona, both their 06 Champions League and 09 Champions League winning rosters. I mean, Chelsea hadn't gotten taken over way before this, but they started to become a Premier League powerhouse. You've had Sevilla, who had some European success in this time with the UEFA Cup. 06 Arsenal in one of their last seasons at Highbury. Obviously, Barcelona winning the Champions League, but some other teams like the 07 Milan, the last time that Rossoneri won the Champions League. Espanyol in this period were also a solid outfit. This was Liverpool, couple, maybe 3-4 years before their banter era would start. Of course, oh no, we've got another duplicate here. 08 Chelsea. Back when Man United versus Chelsea used to be a title rivalry, and that was the Champions League final that year. Who forget? 09 Shakhtar, 09 League Bundesliga champions Werder Bremen with Ozil, Sato up front, Naldo at the back. Brother, if you can't tell already, I could yap for days about this period in time. These were like the last few years before clubs started breaking the bank and transfer values and transfer fees just went through the roof. I feel like there's a bit of heart and soul left in this era before all the corporate greed. This is back in that time period where I started to fall in love with playing FIFA, like FIFA 06, FIFA 07, back on the PS2. Now I'm just yapping about nostalgia, but surely some of you out there can relate. Done it again, that Marcus Rashford, betraying us for the other side of Manchester, turning red for blue. The United youth product going from red to sky blue was already highly rated as a teenager, and 03 Milan splashed 128.4 million, the most expensive being Zé Roberto, joining this 73 Bayern squad, which everyone seems to join in every simulation we do. Brian Laudrup on the move to the 50s from Milan to Milan. Lee Dixon joining 97 Barca. Damn, bro, why does that 2D mini face look like AI deepfake? Like, that just does not look real. And this signing doesn't feel real, as the La Masia youth product at 21, Andreas Iniesta, goes back in time to 1975 to play for Real Madrid. Holy airball, I think I've got whatever the opposite of the Midas touch is whenever I take over a team in this Errors Mode simulation, because 08 Manchester United have finished smack bang 10th, just mid-table slop mediocre. I mean, they were only, what, 2 wins away from the top 4, but considering what they actually pulled off in real life compared to the rest of these teams, you can kind of see the direction and like who were the main powerhouses in world football at the time. Barcelona, the rise of Messi and all of their great tiki-taka legends. Pep Guardiola at the helm. Both of their sides from 06 and 09 have just dominated this Super League, with Bayern Munich and 06 Arsenal coming up through the top 4. But yeah, Manchester United under my watch as Sir Alex have completely flopped, just finishing above Liverpool 07, Lyon 06, with Werder Bremen and Sevilla finishing above us. Both Chelsea sides finishing above us. It's embarrassing, as with the late 2000 Super Cup going to 05 Chelsea with a 2-1 win over 2007 Champions League winner Milan. Nothing to look forward to in the UCL final, 2 present day teams, but again, 2019 Europa League Chelsea win it against 03 UCL winners Milan with a 7-6 penalty shootout victory after it finished 2-2. And the Conference League had a battle for the ages, with 2 separate decades going head to head, and this Bayern 73 squad was very active in the transfer windows. For some reason they get trigger happy, and it paid off for them, a 2-1 win against 97 Barcelona, who we saw what they were capable of in the last decade. So that's an amazing feat. That's an insane achievement. And just like they did in real life, Barcelona and their La Masia Youth Academy graduates just stamping their authority in this time period of football, as it's a young Lionel Messi with 26 goals, the Golden Boot winner in the league. Cristiano Ronaldo, one of his late variants, signed for 06 Barcelona. So I know I'm going to get absolutely flamed in the comment section for allowing transfers to happen, but United's best goal scorer, 19, for Luis Nani, one of my all-time favorite players, another version of Messi from 2020, signed for 09 Barcelona, scored 15 goals. We had the young version of Cristiano Ronaldo in 2008-15, and Ronaldinho also managed to bag 14. Diego Maradona moved to Chelsea, and Drogba only mustering up 11 goals. In terms of assists, it was the playmaker Ronaldinho just in his bag, freestyling his way to the top of the charts. 14 assists, 10 for 06 Cristiano Ronaldo. That would have been an insane combo in the attack. As 2 variants of Victor Valdez both get 8 clean sheets apiece, but Jens Lehmann wins the Golden Glove and reigns on top, 13. The team of the season is absolutely littered with Barcelona players, as dominated by them, with 2 variants of Puyol, 2 variants of Messi, Ronaldinho Ronaldinho, CR7, Dani Alves. It's just pure insanity as the player of the season. And if it wasn't clear by real life, the eras mode and this mod agrees that Barcelona were the absolute kings, the top tier champions at this point. The kings of this era, no doubt, as the top goal scorer were the two Portuguese wingers. In the 4-4-2 Sir Alex system, 25 goal contributions for Nani, 16 for CR7 before he would move to Real Madrid. Luis Saha, ever reliable with 10 goal contributions. Darren Fletcher from the middle of the park, still at only 23 with 6 goals. And Paul Scholes, 7 goal contributions from him. And this might have been the main reason for the underperformance. Centre forward Wayne Rooney, due to his position, didn't get any game time from the assistant manager. And so did Giggs. Giggsy just completely had it down for -5 downgrade for the Welshman. Nevertheless, up next is the early 2010s era, and I am licking my lips because the options and the possibilities are bountiful. You're just spoiled for choice here. I have so many different options I could go for. Jurgen Klopp with the 2013 Dortmund, treble winning Inter with Jose, Pep with hair at Barcelona, PSG when they just got taken over in the early 2010s. I'm sorry, Jurgen, but we're going to have to go with the Don Carlo because this 2013 PSG squad with the OG badge, with those kits in general, I just have so many memories of them in FIFA 13. The retro vibes at the beginning of the Qatari takeover were absolutely immaculate, but these are some more iconic moments from this early 2010s. You've got Barcelona dominance, of course, 2012 Chelsea winning the Champions League, treble winning Bayern and Inter, and you're going to see why I have such an affinity for this PSG squad. This was just an epic team with cult heroes, experience, wonder kids, some iconic names like David Beckham, Ibra and Thiago Silva just joined from AC Milan. You had Matuidi and Pastore in midfield, 22-year-old Sacco, and a young wonder kid called Lucas that everyone was obsessing over that had recently arrived from Sao Paulo. And take a look at some of these bench players too. You've got Marco Verratti, fresh from winning Serie B with Pescara at 19. He made the big money move to the Parisian Giants. Gamero in and off the bench. Areola as backup goalkeeper. Van der Wiel, the Dutchman with his neck tats. You had Thiago Motta, another iconic Italian midfielder. Jeremy Menez as well to provide that impact. This team was just pure vibes, pure fun. Streets won't forget Ezequiel Lavezzi either, in his prime. A future juggernaut of French football, and they've got their fellow French outfit to compete with here. In this early 2010 Super League, we've got 18 clubs at it again, and most of them seem to be specific years. Besides 2 clubs, we do have some duplicates here, like Atletico Madrid. Barcelona also get that duplicate treatment again. Atletico Madrid and Sevilla are the 2 teams that have their club covered over the 3-year period. I guess I can say this is a period in time where I just started to become football obsessed. Watching more games on TV, looking up highlights on YouTube, playing career mode religiously when I was allowed on my PS2 and Xbox, or if I was lucky enough playing FIFA 13 on my family computer that ran like a potato. But here we are today, back on the PC, pulling off insane mods like this. This Atletico Madrid Europa League winning team won in the final versus Fulham back in 2010. And then there's this side who just continuously lost to Real Madrid over and over and over again in this 3-year stint. La Decima Real Madrid with BBC is also an option, man. There is so much replay value in this mod. 2013 Borussia Dortmund. Let's see if they can rewrite history and get themselves a Champions League title. 2011 Napoli is literally a streets won't forget team. Like, are you kidding me? Pulling up with this front 3 before they sold Lavezzi to PSG? These 3 alone could have carried this team to a title. I'm not kidding. Cavani at Napoli was a different beast. Anyways, enough gushing and glazing. Time to take a look at the transfer business. And again, Zé Roberto, 2 back-to-back errors, is the most expensive transfer. We had a £113 million move to Inter in 2023. David Ginola moves on over to Porto in 87. And Phil Foden has tried his luck in the Barcelona 2011 squad. Yeah, good luck, son. 2021 version of Phil Foden, by the way. I know he's got potential to be special, but like, he is getting nowhere near that peak Barcelona team in their prime. Not gonna lie, this was very much a low-key window. Arsenal spending big for once as their 04 team managed to plunge on Jan Oblak at 21 in 2014. I swear, he just loves leaving Real Madrid, and this time he's joined 01 PSG. We've got no control over this, but some of the best players in the world are just on the move to to any and all historic teams. So be careful of that if you do go on to not use the disabled transfers mod, as this caught me way off guard. A baby Daniele Rossi, 18 years old, not a lick of facial hair on him, and he's made the move to 03 Juventus. Clearly, my vibes focused, no tactics mentality is coming at the detriment to whatever club I take over, because this PSG 2013 squad down in the bottom four, 15th spot, 31 points, just above that 3-year athletic team in the mid-2010s, and then 2011 Napoli finished 2 points above us towards the top of the table. This is when German football decided to dominate this time period, the early 2010s. We had the all-German Champions League final in 2013, and exact Bayern squad has won this Super League with aplomb, marking their territory in this time period. And this era also saw the like 2011 Porto. They had a sick team, those Europa League winners, treble winning Inter in the top four, and 2012 Chelsea beating out both Barcelona historic teams, 2011 and 2013 respectively. 2010 Lyon punching above their weight and finishing in 10th. Meanwhile, at the bottom was that Europa League dominant Sevilla. The early 2010s era Super Cup final finished with 2012 Chelsea getting the better over 2011 Barca, who won in the final against Manchester United the year before. An intriguing matchup by all standards, but here we have Real Madrid in current day versus their three-peat Champions League winning squad. And of course, they were going to come out on top, but they had to do it the hard way. 5-4 win on penalties. Last time the Portuguese Giants won a European trophy, and they've done it again here against 2015 Barcelona. MSN couldn't take down Eusebio and his gang, and over in the Conference League final, we saw a Juventus side in the 70s edge out Inter's all-time squad, so that's a major upset. Just reading this top goal scorers list makes you wonder where all the great strikers are now, because in this period in time, world football was littered with elite top-tier strikers, like this man up the top with 23 goals. David Villa in 2013 was an absolute animal. Mario Gomez coming through in second spot. If you know that song, you're an absolute legend. As the German sharpshooter, 20 goals for Bayern. Radamel Falcao in 2011 before he moved to Atleti, 19 goals for that Porto squad. We had Prime Pedro on the right flank for the Blaugrana, and Eden Hazard at 2011 Lille winning the title in France before making the move Chelsea. 2014 Ronaldo with 16 goals, as 2020 Messi, Torres, and Diego Forlan in 2010, fresh off the World Cup Jabulani run, coming through in 10th. And you know what I mean? Look at these names. Look at these strikers. The abundance, the goal-getters that we had. They were at a world-class level, and now there seems to be a grand shortage of strikers. And I guess we didn't know it at the time, but we were absolutely blessed. And there can only be one man for the Golden Glove in this time period, Manuel Neuer. Top 3 in the Ballon d'Or in 2013, and he could have been the first goalkeeper ever to win it. But it wasn't to be. 12 clean sheets in the Super League is insane. All 3 different players occupy top spot in the Champions League goal scorers charts with Benzema. And were there any individual performances to savor for this PSG squad? Another 13 years to win the Champions League, their main objective, but it was the boy Ezequiel Lavezzi, the part of the old guard, the Argentine with 14 goals and 2. Jeremy Menez off the bench, just a hidden gem, underappreciated cult hero. Javier Pastore ripping it up in the middle of the park, and David Beckham on the right, again towards the end of his career, but 4 goals for him in his retirement season. A great way to send off the legend, as Thiago Silva, 1 goal and 2 for the captain at the back, and Ibra massively underperforming. I don't know why he wasn't starting, because 4 appearances is absolutely nothing. Lucas Moura with a goal and an assist off the left. Noodlehead Ronaldo with the Champions League trophy, a sight we've seen many a time before in real life, so that's no real surprise that it's happened in game. 2012 Chelsea managed to get their hands on Johan Cruyff, using Barcelona's own weapons against them, and it's just cool to see these legends of the past happy and smiling in the modern era with some silverware, as the team of the season pretty much reads exactly how you'd think, with some cool additions like Hulk, Rolando at the back for Porto, a young David Alaba in 2013, Manuel Neuer in between the sticks, and that treble-winning Inter signing up Franz Beckenbauer. Meanwhile, the MVP for the 2010 season was Pedro, outshunned by the likes of Messi, Iniesta, and Xavi at Barcelona. So again, another underappreciated baller that I think deserves his flowers. But when you had the likes of, David Villa, Manuel Neuer, it was hard to get himself the main spot spotlight. So let's time travel to the second last era we have available to us, 2015 to 2020, the late 2010s time period. And again, we have so many options. Erik ten Hag at Ajax, Liverpool's Champions League winning team with Jurgen Klopp, Manuel Pellegrini right before Pep took over at Man City. We've also got Unai at Arsenal, Zidane's Madrid, where they literally won everything under the sun, the Champions League specialist, hot shit Spurs. Could we rewrite history here and win Spurs a trophy before Big Ange? You had prime MSN 2017 Barcelona. Oh, the options here are really spicy. I'm torn. You also got 2015 Barcelona as a double up. This Tottenham team that came also close. One season before banter era Arsenal, and then 2019, this Ajax team was saucy. And now I feel bad because I probably should have picked them with Louis van Gaal back in the 90s. You know what? Erik ten Hag redemption tour is on. Pre-Man United, this guy had aura, hailed as the next Pep Guardiola at Ajax, taking this team to literal seconds away from a UCL final. With that Ajax talent factory on full display, how could I say no? But like, look at all these teams I could have gone for though. MSN, Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool, CR7 winning his 5th Champions League at Real Madrid, and this standings, the late 2010s, which people are kind of becoming more nostalgic for the further we get into the 2020s, because I think we just don't know what we had until it was gone. But this Ajax team is definitely underdogs in this situation, because you're dealing with 2 insane MSN Barcelona squads. You're dealing with prime 2010s Juve, but also some teams who nearly won a title, nearly won a big trophy, like 2018 Napoli, who were just an insanely juiced side, just only fell short of the Scudetto in the last final days of the season. 2019 Tottenham, of course, and this Juventus before they changed to that J logo redesign, losing 2 Champions League finals in this time period. And just have a glance, have a gaze at this Ajax talent pool on the full display. A team that played with no fear, just a beautiful total football, gegenpressing system where everyone could express themselves. Van der Beek and Onana before they were both ruined by Manchester United. Hakim Ziyech before he ruined his career moving to Chelsea. Dusan Tadic in the twilight years of his career with Dolberg off the bench. Like, this was an incredibly capable squad. A young Mazraoui also in the mix. Frankie de Jong emerging as one of Europe's best talent for Barcelona snapped him up, and Klaas-Jan Huntelaar on the search for his fairy tale send-off. Now, some of you might be pleased to know that I've actually finally turned the switch and committed. I've decided to disabling transfers in the last 2 eras of this marathon time run, this epic simulation throughout world football history. These just automatically happen the first day of your career saving. You can't really do anything about it. But other than that, no money has been spent. It hasn't stopped Real Madrid for putting in a bid for Dusan Tadic. Why? Really? You want 30-year-old Dusan Tadic just to warm the bench in your most successful dominant period as a club ever? No. I swear their president, that Perez, man, he's always trying to bend and dodge the rules. Oh my days, bro. The memories with this era, especially the years and the campaigns right before COVID hit. Prime Messi versus Ronaldo, MSN, CR7 breaking the internet, moving to Juventus. It was definitely a time where football started to collide way more with the social media age, and now they're pretty much intertwined. And I ain't gonna lie, this is around the time where I started making videos on a consistent level, on a consistent basis. This 16-team competition in the late 2010s has turned this Super League back to the splitting format, where we see the tables get chopped in half into a playoff round and the championship round, and it looks like the Kings, the dominators of the regular season, were 2019 Liverpool with that 3-peat Real Madrid team right behind them. 2016 Man City, I wasn't expecting that from them, but they get through into the top 4 over 2015 Barcelona. A big result there for Manchester United, Europa League winners under Jose. As our boys, 2019 Ajax, finish in a respectable 8th spot over 2019 Spurs, over that MSN 2017 Barcelona. One MSN could barely scrape into the top 4, and the other one could barely get into the top half of the table, as over in the playoffs, it was Real Madrid take it home at the end of the day. 2019 Liverpool capitulating, and they got the job done in the end in these playoffs, as it was our Ajax squad who kind of deteriorated in the playoffs. The Champions League final saw present-day Real Madrid take on 2003 historic team Juventus and won out on penalties after it finished 3-3 in a goal fest best final, 4-2 at the shootout. And in the Europa League final, we've got 2024 Real Madrid getting the better of a mid-80s Liverpool 1-0. And are they going to be in the Europa League? No, we finally get a different team, this time the Inter all-time squad, with an 11-10 penalty shootout win after it finished 1-1 against 2012 Chelsea. These two Barcelona teams are right before he makes the record-breaking transfer to PSG, and in 2017, 26 goals in 40 appearances, outscoring Harry Kane with 22. Lacazette at Arsenal got a respectable 19, one more than Cristiano Ronaldo. 2015 Barcelona, man. These free agent signings are absolutely cracked. Zlatan showing us why he was one of the best to ever do it. Benzema's up there. Mane, Messi, Lineker, and 2020 Cristiano Ronaldo all in the top 10. And in terms of playmaker, the assist, Neymar, this time a different variation, the 2015 version as opposed to 2017. Mesut Ozil, the playmaking master, tied up there with 10 apiece. And clean sheets, I mean, Keylor Navas was an absolute stalwart shot stopper for the Los Blancos in that period, and he's tied up there, David De Gea. Again, a club legend who was United's player of the season for like 3-4 years in a row. This Ajax team just straight up reminds me of FIFA 19, no question about it, as Donny van de Beek, the most production out of everyone. You sometimes forget how good he was before all those injuries and before he made the devastating move to United. 10 goals and 3 for the Serbian 30-year-old Dusan Tadic, and 10 goals for Kasper Dolberg off the bench is a decent return. 5 and 7 for the Moroccan marvel Hakim Ziyech, with 11 goal contributions from Frankie de Jong right before he'd depart club for the Camp Nou, and David Neres. And this was also the season where Matthias de Ligt moved for Juventus. So literally after this season, this Ajax team got torn apart. Anyways, we move, and now we are at our 11th and final time-specific era, and this time period is after 2020. Literally everything before 2025, before you're watching this video, and post-COVID. The least nostalgic period of football. But we're going to give it a spin nonetheless and show it its flowers as we simulate. But there are not many teams on offer here. I don't feel spoiled for choice right now. Like, it's just too recent for me to feel any kind of attachment to any of these teams, just to be random. I don't know why, but I'm feeling Europa League winning Villarreal with Unai Emery at the wheel. And if you had Man City finally becoming champions of Europe, that 2021 final where Chelsea won it out of nowhere with a Kai Havertz goal. So you know we were living in strange times. Like, lockdown football wasn't real, and especially this final where Villarreal won on penalties against United. All the bad memories and, the nightmares are starting to come back now, as this 2021 Villarreal squad was actually low-key fire. Look at this for a strike duo with Carlos Bacca and Alberto Moreno up front. We've got Capoue and Parejo pulling the strings in midfield, Pau Torres at back, and Raul Albiol, the captain, at 36. Wow, this squad is very underrated. Chukwueze before he'd moved to AC Milan. You also had Coquelin as an option in midfield. Yeah, this team was a solid unit. The Yellow Submarines were cooking under Unai Emery. Estupinian before he moved to Brighton too. I didn't even know that. And just a casual Paco Alcácer off the bench, like it's nothing. Damn Villarreal 2021. Not that I was unfamiliar with your game, but I literally just completely forgot all about your game because I've wiped it from my memory alongside a lot of this lockdown / post-lockdown football. A time where we thought Manchester United were on their way back with Ole at the wheel, with Cavani, Bruno, Greenwood before he got cancelled, Pogba and McSauce in midfield, Ashford in career best form, David De Gea, competent goalkeeper still there. The 2022 Liverpool who lost Champions League final, the team who they lost against, Real Madrid. Champions League finals runners-up Inter, and also Champions League winners Man City of that season. Hansi Flick 2020 Bayern were also a strong choice here. This is when Lewandowski should have probably won the Ballon d'Or, got robbed in 2020. So that was his year, beating out Mbappe and Neymar in that Champions League final. But let's kick on. We've time traveled all the way from before 1975, and now we are the closest we've ever been to current day. Here in this 12-team competition, let's see how the after 2020 era fares here in FC 25. Now, who took charge of the post-2020 era and grabbed this time period by the scruff of their neck? Oh, we finished rock bottom. Surprise, surprise. I was gassing up the team so much at the start of the season, but the quality over quantity in this Super League is absolutely immense, and it's Man City, their 2023 team, with Pep's perfect system, getting the better over everyone, even their 2021 team, as 2023 Inter slide into the top 4. We've got 22 Liverpool right behind City, common tale of the early 2020s. 21 Manchester United, the best version of post-Sir Alex Ferguson era, and they managed to finish up in 6th, so I guess it's respectable. But 2020 Bayern and PSG, both lopping, but over in the playoff relegation round, they kind of rejuvenated their season as the championship round saw Man City 23 continue to dominate. Top goal scorers for the league, we've got some very familiar faces here with Mo Salah, 19 goals, no one able to break that 20-goal barrier, and that's just a testament to the quality. That is no easy target for any team. Robert Lewandowski at his peak, in his prime, with 15 goals, same as Karim Benzema, who'd go on to win the Ballon d'Or like a year or two later. Villarreal finishing rock bottom, but Alsace finishing with 14 goals. Manchester United, Anthony Martial scoring as much as Erling Haaland with 14. Lucas Ocampos also made the top 10 with similar numbers at Sevilla, and it was 2020 Neymar with 13 goals right before a couple of crucial injuries that would set him back, as it Dani Parejo, 9 assists for the Spanish magician, and they somehow wasn't good enough to take the yellow submarine off the bottom of the table, as it's two versions of Edison just parking himself at the top of the clean sheets race. Easily the Golden Glove winner with no doubt. Yeah, this team on paper definitely deserved more. I think my curse just continued. I was in charge of them and they completely capitulated, but they've got all the tools to compete at the top level, especially in this post-2020 Super League era. But just for fun, I wanted to watch one major final play out before we send this mod farewell and part ways with these fun football eras we've been, just exploring and revisiting, because this PSG team, I think, they were up there. They deserved a second shot at glory. I think the season or maybe 2 seasons before Messi would arrive, and they have gotten themselves into the Super Cup final up against 2023 Inter. So 2 recent sides in this post-2020 era who have lost a Champions League final. Now over in the Champions League, it was a 3-peat Real Madrid to beat down on modern-day Barcelona and Lamine Yamal in another tight penalty shootout victory, and in the Europa League, it was an all-time team of Milan to do the business, take care of 2024 Real Madrid with their eyes closed, 4-1 dominating win. The late 70s for Juve come through and dish up a 2-0 win over 2012 Chelsea. Before we hop in and watch the final, the team of the season is absolutely stacked. I mean, they haven't really put a foot wrong here. You'd mistake it for a Premier League team of the season if it wasn't for Lewandowski and Bastoni making it into the starting 11, as Erling Haaland was granted the MVP award. But let's shift gears here. There's some silverware on the line. 2 different historical teams of recent memory up against it. Here it is, 2023 Inter versus 2020 PSG. Mbappe's last chance to win a European title with the Parisians, as we're doing it at a neutral venue. And I thought the G-Tech Community Stadium, because why not? There's the trophy on offer. And I forgot to change the kits. Oh no, we've got kit clash. There we go, that's it. I fixed it. We've got Howard Webb as the referee. Inter in one of my favorite kits of the early 2020s. That snakeskin away shirt hits every time. Here we have the Luca Verratti inside to Mbappe wearing the number 7. Marco Verratti, before he'd moved to Qatar, showing early signs of promise. And look at these 2 Champions League runners-up with a chance of redemption, a rare chance to right the wrongs. And PSG have definitely started off stronger. Look at this barrage of attack. The retro ad boards on the side are kind of cool as well, but this Eras mod is literally insane. There are still more leagues and more teams that I haven't explored because they aren't specific time periods and they are just like random historical teams in one league. So again, there's still more content to unpack and discover, as today I've only barely scratched the surface. And now Lautaro Martinez with an absolute bullet finish. Look at that from the Argentine. Inter 2023. Bro, this Inter team are all over PSG right now. If only they turned up like this. He's going to use Di Maria, and this could be a lovely little setup play. Mbappe's offside. He's going to score. The Ninja Turtle doesn't realize, and now he's stuck in the goal nets. I guess this era can be known for the rise of the Haaland-Mbappe rivalry. Messi leaving Barcelona. Barcelona just being bankrupt in general. As, Mbappe, lovely little cutback. Drissagana Gay. You don't want it falling to him. Anyways, I'm going to sim to the end and see how this one plays out. And it was a 2-2. Oh my god, it went down to penalties with a 5-3 spot kick win for Inter. The Parisians clawed their way back with Gay on the score sheet atoning for his error, and Neymar with an 87th minute goal, clutching pushing it to send it into extra time, but they were unlucky as he went on to miss the penalty to lose. And Oil Money FC for sure yet again. There we have it. That's it. We've made it through every single half decade, every single time period and league involved in this mod. We've worked our way up from before 1975 to post 2020, and I feel like we've time traveled throughout football history, exploring every single nook and cranny. And believe it or not, there is still way more content waiting for you in this mod, including international football. We've got all these other region-specific leagues that I haven't simulated yet, like Classic Libertadores. So I'll leave that to you people. Let me know what was your favorite time period that we simulated through today, and what shocked you the most about this mod. Again, if you want to use it and play with it yourself in FC25, make sure to click the link in the description. If you want to see more content from the Errors Mode mod, let me know down in the comments below. But if you've made it this far and enjoyed this absolute marathon with one of the best retro mods you'll ever see, drop me a like down below, hit subscribe, turn on the notifications. You lads know what to do. I've been your boy bchdbusiness. Have a great day, and I'll catch you lot in the very next modded video. Bye bye.